So if you're wondering how often you should be greasing your upper and lower gear set, according to Native, that should happen every 75 days of normal use. All right, so let me tell you how to take this all apart, properly grease it, and then put it all back together to get you back out there on the water. All right, so let's go ahead and take this thing apart. You want to take a 4mm hex wrench and remove this bolt. Put that off to the side, remove your propeller. Great, do that, up there. All right, now you can see this right here. You gotta remove your shear pin. So how this works is that if your prop comes in contact with something that's immovable, instead of wrecking your entire system, it's gonna shear and break this pin off. It's gonna save you a lot of money because replacing your gear set is really expensive, but replacing one of these, it's gonna cost you around $5. I would imagine this is brass being a softer metal, and it's gonna break before any of your other metals will. Now you might be wondering, what in the world is this? This is aftermarket 3D printed weed guard. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get that off of there and kind of see. So if you don't have one of these, a lot of times weeds will get caught in between your propeller and this casing here, and so this provides a little protection from that. So these are really nice, really cheap. You can find those online. Oh, and look, probably one of the reasons this may not have been working as smoothly. There's a bunch of fishing line. Oh, look at that. That fishing line that was stuck down in there. Wonder how long that's been down in there. It's nice and crispy, so it's probably been getting a lot of friction from being down there. So, well, that's gonna help it out. So not only grease, but if you have any fishing line caught in there. So if you notice here, there are 2 pins right here and right here. And this is gonna require a tool you likely don't have, which is a spanner wrench. Now, these things can be expensive. I know Burley Pro tries to sell you one for $89, and it just fits the Propel Drive, which it'll definitely work. However, it's a bit expensive. So what I recommend is hopping on Amazon, getting the OTC 6613. I'll throw the links in the description below. And what this is a variable pin spanner wrench. Let's go and open this up. So not only do you get the spanner wrench, but you have all these adjustable pins. And for the Native Propel, you're gonna need 6mm, which it comes with right here. So you just go ahead and screw these on. Really easy. And there you go. So this tool's not cheap. I think it's around $60, $70. Now you can buy cheaper versions of this variable pin, but if you read through the ratings, I didn't like what I was reading. So I mean, I'm 40 years old, so I'm gonna be around for a while, and I don't mind buying nice tools. All right, so now you have this. Go ahead and just stick those on there. Probably gonna have to hold your pedal. Gotta break that free. Now keep in mind, some of these might be really tight. If it's your first time taking these off, that might be pretty snug. I've had mine on and off today, and so that's why it didn't look like I needed a whole lot of force to get that off there, but I did the first time. So now you're just going to hand untighten the cartridge and go and pull that out. All right, so what I'm looking at here, I like what I see. Sometimes you see online, some of these guys open these up and it's completely brown, the grease is brown. It means there's water intrusion, the seal wasn't nice on it, and it's rusting all over the place. And so I kind of like what I see here. A little bit of brown down here by the bearings, but still relatively smooth. So I'm gonna clean this off and grease it up. I'll show you how to do that. So you see some of that white Teflon grease. I'm gonna take that off. Kind of using a mix of paper towels and a mix of Q-tips. All right, so those tines look nice, not grinding away at all. So that's really great. So as you notice under here, there's a bearing, and so I'm gonna put some oil down in there because the grease won't penetrate, it won't seep. So I'm gonna go and do that. And I'm just gonna put some of my fishing reel oil, just like a drop, both sides, kind of work that in. All right, as you can see down there, I got the camera and the lights competing, is the grease. It's really difficult to get down there and grease that. You can do it one of 4 different ways. You can get a small paintbrush and paint it on. You can do nothing because the grease from your cartridge right here is actually going to meet up down there. But if you want to clean it, you can take out these hex bolts on the sides and you can have full access to that and clean it like you did that one. Or you can buy Native's $45 plus shipping handling long nose grease gun, or you can make your own grease gun kit, which I did, which you just buy the grease that they recommend, which is this finish line grease with Teflon, and it comes factory standard when these things are made. So it's gonna be compatible, and you can make your own grease gun kit. Just went down and got a flavor injector from the local store for about $6.50. Put this grease in here, taped off one of the holes on the flavor injector, and you could actually, so it'll shoot grease out this hole here. So you can get down there and grease it that way. So it's completely up to you. I bought this not for getting into here, but it's for quick greasing my upper assembly. So I got another video on that. If you're interested, I'll throw that in the description below. All right, so go ahead and take the grease, apply that a bead around the outside of the gear. Don't need to get super crazy with this. The reality is a lot of this is going to splatter on the inside of your casing, which if you look down in your hole, you might already see happening. So once you have that bead on there, I kind of like to press it down in there all the way around. So for reassemblies, go ahead and take this, and slowly hand tighten it. Now what you're going to want to do, when you're hand tighten this, you can get close. When you feel a little bit of pressure, start to move your gears back and forth until you find where the gears are meshing nice and tightly. There you go. And then you can be able to tell when you're in between the gears, you're not binding them, because this will start to move. So once you have that dialed in, you can go ahead and tighten up the rest. Kind of hand tighten that. Now take your spanner wrench, hold on to your crank arms, go ahead and give that nice tightening. Now when you're tightening this up with your spanner wrench, you don't want any gap between your aluminum casing and your cartridge here. So make sure this is flush, or you're gonna have water intrusion, and next time you open this thing up, it's gonna be brown and full of rust. No bueno. Next, if you have one, go ahead and put your weed guard on. Next, apply your shear pin. Should stick right in there nice and easy. Now, this is kind of a pain in the butt, because you have to line this shear pin up perfectly to fit in your propeller like that. But as you can see, there's no room for air here. So I'm gonna pop this out. So go ahead and stick that in there, and just kind of gotta eye it and put it on. There we go. And finally, go ahead and take your hex bolt, start that, and a little hack here, just kind of stick it in there, start pedaling. it'll tighten it up until you hit resistance. So once you hit resistance, go ahead and go 1/2 past, and you're good to go. So I imagine if you're greasing your lower assembly, you're gonna wanna grease your upper assembly, and there's a really easy way to do this in less than 1 minute. So check that video out right there, and I'll show you how.